welcome back to Nini's Texas Kitchen. Today we're going to be trying to make some puff pastry so we can make some custard tarts later. So this recipe I found on my app on my phone, but I have other recipes from my book, so I'm just kind of combining the recipes together and cutting one of them in half because I don't want to make a huge amount. So what you're going to need to start out is 2.5 cups of flour, 1 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of cold water, and then you have to have butter. So I have the equivalent to 1 cup of unsalted butter, and I'm going to pound it in a minute, but for now I'm going to leave it in the fridge until I'm ready to do that. Okay. So sift your flour and salt together into a large bowl. Just like this. You can use a regular whisk if you have one, but to me that's just easy to do it that way. See how light and fluffy it makes your flour look when you do that. Okay, now I'm going to start adding a little bit of water at a time and start mixing it. You want to form a ball, but you don't want it to be too round. So you do a little bit at a time because sometimes you may not need all the water and sometimes you do. So you want to mix it until all of your flour is cleaned off the sides of your bowl, like so. You want to keep mixing it. We're trying to form a ball of dough. Like so. So it's formed a ball of dough, and as you can see, all the flour is off of it. It's not any stuck to the side, and I have just a little bit of my water left, so I don't need that. Now turn it out onto your surface and knead it a little until it starts to get smooth. So it may take a few minutes, but it will start to smooth up from the rough texture that you'll feel from when you mixed it. And you can use a stand mixer to mix it as long as you make sure that you don't get too much water in your mixture. You gotta keep an eye on it if you're using your stand mixer with a dough hook. It's starting to get smooth. Just takes a little bit of effort and patience. Just smoothing out. Most people are like, why don't you just buy the puff pastry at the store? And I'm like, because I want to see if I can make it myself. Because I like it. It's like a hobby. You don't know until you try. Oh yeah, smoothing out. Gluten's getting stretchy in there. Here we go. We're getting there. All right. It's really getting smooth. Once you get a smooth ball of dough like that, you're going to roll it out into a rectangle. Turn it. Start in the middle and roll down and roll up so that you can keep it pretty even. So once you get it rolled out, make sure that you get it into a rectangular shape the best that you can, like so. And just kind of smooth it out again. Now it's time for your chilled butter. So with your chilled butter, wrap it in cling wrap and then start in the middle. You want to pound it down. And get it as flat as you can. I'm sure there's easier ways to do it, but this is how I saw it done. So you want to pound it out to about 1/4 inch thickness. And take it out of your plastic wrap. Then you want to place it onto your dough, and if it's not exactly the right shape, just improvise. So, probably need to put it in the center. Scoot it up just a little so you can fold thirds over it. You need to pound it a little bit more than you can. Fold your thirds. You want to keep your butter in it. Middle row. The key is to keep your butter in it and not let it squeeze out, because after you do your multiple turns and working of the dough, when you're done, that butter melting during the baking process is what is going to make your layers of your pastry puff. Hence the term puff pastry. So that was one turn. Now, fold it again in thirds, meeting in the middle, like so. See? And I'm going to turn it this way and do the same thing again. That's 2 turns. One more time. Fold it over in the center, like so. And then I'm going to knuckle it. 1, 2. Telling me that I've done 2 turns. And I'm going to wrap it back in cling wrap. Oops. And put it in my refrigerator to chill for about 20 to 30 minutes. Seal the edges. I want air in there. The idea of chilling it is to keep that butter cold, because when it sits out for a little bit, it starts to melt. Alright, so we're going to let that chill, and while we're letting it chill, we're going to clean up in here a little bit, and then we'll be back. Alright, our pastry has been been chilling for 30 minutes, so now we're gonna do 2 more turns and then put it back in the fridge. So always start in the center and hit it down, and then roll up and roll down. Fold again, like so. Turn it, and then do the same thing again. All these folds with the butter in the middle is what makes all your flaky layers when you bake it. And you want to chill it so that your butter stays nice and cold, so that when you cook it and you bake it, if your butter is too warm when you put it in there, it'll melt quickly and then you won't have flaky layers. So let me turn it again. Now I've done 4 turns. Now I'm going to put it back in the refrigerator to chill, gently removing it in my plastic wrap again, like so. I got my 4 little dents showing me I've done 4 turns. Put it in there. Chill for 30 minutes, so I'll set my timer. Now, when it comes back out, I'm going to roll it out, and then I'm going to use this cutter that is just a little bit bigger than the opening on my muffin tin, and I'll just cut little discs out, and I'll put them in there and flute the edges, and then we'll put them back in the fridge to chill while we get our custard ready, and then once our custard's ready, we'll pour them in there and bake them in the oven. Yummy! So we'll be back in a little bit. All right, our puff pastry has chilled again, so now I'm going to roll it out and then cut out my pieces to put in my baking tin. So we start in the middle, roll up, roll down. You want to roll it out pretty thin, about 1/4 of an inch thickness. And as you can see, it's already got layers in it. And then you're going to take your cutter. If you have a fluted edge one, that's fine. And then cut your rounds to go in your cups. Just take them, put them down in there. You can stretch them a little. And form your little edges. And you can look at it and you can see all those layers. See all the layers? Alright, I got all my little puff pastry circles cut out and put in my pan. So now I'm going to put some more cling wrap over it, plastic wrap, and I'm going to put it back in the fridge to chill for about 30 or 45 minutes while I get ready to make my custard, because they'll bake in the oven all together. This with the custard baking in the oven, and I'm putting that over it to keep the tops from drying out too much. Okay? We'll stick it in here, let that chill. I'll clean this up and then we'll come back and get ready to make the custard. Alright, we're ready to make the custard part now for our custard tarts. So, what I did, I have a kitchen scale here, and the recipe that I have says 700 milliliters of milk, which is 2.5 cups of whole milk, okay? And that calls for 90 grams of sugar. So I put my bowl on and measured out 90 grams. Looking at it, it looks like it's about 2/3 of a cup of sugar maybe. And then you need 7 egg yolks, and calls for fresh eggs. And I just happen to have some because I have 4 chickens and they provide me with wonderful eggs every day. So we'll separate those out. Then I'm going to end up putting a teaspoon of vanilla in mine, and then once I get them all in my cups, I'm going to sprinkle them with some cinnamon. So first thing I'm going to do is turn my oven on to 400 fan, which means convection oven setting. So I'm going to go to convection bake, 400, and that means the fan in the back will blow everything around. Okay? So I have a pan here. What I'm going to do is put my 2.5 cups of milk into my pan. And then I'm going to turn it on and let it start simmering on medium low, like just a little below medium. Okay? I'm going to separate out my beautiful brown fresh eggs. So you separate them out however the way you like to, but this is the way I've always done it. Save my whites, I can make some meringue with that. None better than fresh eggs. Alright, we got all of our eggs separated, so I got all my egg yolks down in here. Now I'm going to add my sugar into the egg yolk mixture. Then you mix those until they're fluffy. If you have a stand mixer, you can use that, but I'm just using my hand mixer today. should be almost ready. Now the way you can tell your milk is ready, you don't want it to boil. You just want to dip your finger in. And it's warm, but it isn't hot enough yet. You want it to be just warm enough to where when you stick your finger in, you want to pull it right back out immediately. So I know that seems kind of, barbaric, but hey, this is baking. Baking is barbaric. That's what we do. So it shouldn't take more than just a couple more minutes. And then I'm going to mix it in real good with my egg mixture. So you want to make sure that you take your warm milk or hot milk and pour it into your egg mixture, not the other way around. You don't want to pour your egg mixture into your hot milk pan, because your hot milk pan, the whole pan will be hot. There's just more heat in this, and when you add your egg mixture to it, it'll curdle. So that's why you add it into your egg yolk mixture. It's getting there, not quite. I'm going to turn it up a little bit so that it'll go a little faster. And then, once that is done, we'll take this and we will use it as our little pourer for our custard tarts. So it just had milk in it, and I'm just going to rinse it out, and I can use it for my pouring server for my tarts. Alright, should be getting close. Almost. It's hotter. It's not quite hot enough. What'll happen when you bake these is I'm going to bake them at 400 fan, which means convection, for 15 minutes. And then at the 15-minute mark, I'm going to turn it down to 350 fan or convection oven, and then bake it for 10 more. And then what you want them to do is kind of look slightly domed up a little bit. That tells you they're done. And then you take them out and you let them cool for 30 minutes, and then you can take them out of their little pan. All right, I think it's done. That's what you want it to look like. You want it to be bubbly on top like that. That's the correct consistency of what you want. So now I'm going to add in my vanilla. Don't forget the cap is a teaspoon, so you can add in 1 teaspoon. Use real pure vanilla too. Don't use that fake stuff, because real vanilla tastes so much better than the fake stuff. Let me just gently fold that in. Make sure it's mixed well in there. And gotta get out my cups that have been chilling in the fridge for all this time. And they look good. You can see all the little layers of them and everything. Pour my mixture in here. Probably isn't all going to fit, but that's okay. Now I'm going to fill up each of these to the top of my pastry. if you have some left, like I do, you can just make regular custards in little custard bowls. But we'll do that after we bake these because we have to put a water pan in the oven. And my fan just kicked on. Now we come in. Set our timer. 15 minutes. And then after that 15 minutes, I'll come back and turn it down to 350 for 10 more minutes and we'll see how it's going. And if we need a few more minutes on them at that point, we'll let them cook a few more minutes. But we'll see how it goes. We'll be back in a few minutes. All right, y'all. Our custard tarts just came out of the oven. As you can see, they're nice golden color and they humped up just a little bit. And look at all those layers in our puff pastry. You see all those layers? Yummy. It's gonna be flaky. So now I'm gonna do, I have a little cinnamon in this bowl and I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit on the tops of each. Just for a tiny bit of flavor and garnish like that. Use your fingers to do it so that you don't get too much because that can be overwhelming. Just sprinkle it on. All right. Now the next step is you have to let them cool in their tray for 30 minutes and then you can pop them out of there. So we'll do that when we come back. All right, we let our custard tarts cool long enough and then we pop them out of the tin. And as you can see, they look good. And all those flaky layers everywhere around the custard. Looks yummy. So let's try one. Oh, but before we do that, over here, these are the two little custards I made just by themselves without the puff pastry shells in little custard bowls. And I baked these at 375 degrees for 25 minutes in a pan full of hot water because the steam helps to cook it from underneath. So we just had extra and I wanted to show you what we did with the extra. So now we'll go for a taste test. Listen to that crunch. Perfect. If y'all enjoyed our video making puff pastry and custard tarts, please like it, share it to others, and subscribe to my channel. We'll see y'all next time in Nene's Texas Kitchen.